Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So before the big Battlefield 6 open beta, they decided to release another community update. And I'm sitting here and I just can't help but notice that they're just locked in. Like, DICE can't miss right now, and it's really suspicious. I'm sitting here waiting for them to rug pull us or to, like, make some catastrophic mistake. But it hasn't happened yet, which is just, like, not DICE of them. But it's also extremely welcome, and we're going to be going over every single detail of this awesome community update. So, if you want to follow Battlefield 6, I'll be posting settings guides very soon as the beta starts, as well as giving you guys the best information you can find about everything Battlefield 6. So if you want to follow that, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and swing by stream. You guys have been amazing. I mean, seriously, amazing stream support. You guys are insane. Swing by stream, twitch.tv/enders, first link in the description and on this YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Before I go over all these big changes, I want to give you guys some information on how you can access the BF6 open beta. If you didn't know, there will be Twitch drops on August 7th, and all you have to do is watch one of your favorite Twitch streamers streaming Battlefield 6 for 30 minutes, and you will get access to the beta. So for people that don't have access, that is probably your best bet right now. And I also heard there's this guy called Enders that streams Battlefield. He has like a weird large forehead and he like looks like Ben Shapiro, but he's not. He will be streaming the game, so maybe you could go to his channel. But the first big thing they cover in this post is the fact that they are going to be testing closed versus open weapons in the beta. They will obviously be collecting data on this, and my guess is, or my hope is, they will make a final decision on what they're moving forward with for the base game after this open beta. The next big thing they cover in this post is how they've been collecting data on how players play these maps in Battlefield 6. They showed us this awesome heat map, which shows players' movement around the map, and they said they have made several direct changes to the layouts of objectives, including improvised cover, adjusted objective sizes, and they've just basically tailored a lot of things around the maps based off of this collected data. This is really cool to see, and I really like that they're taking the initiative to do this quickly. I do not want another Battlefield 2042 situation where they spend half of the game's content, or the majority of the game's content, remaking existing maps. Let's keep that to a minimum, shall we? One of the key things they mention here is how they're going to be really focusing on objective layouts, and this is huge for the gameplay around the objective points, right? It just makes them flow better, so this is really cool to see from DICE. The next thing they talk about is, shockingly, weapon time to kill and time to death. People were talking about the time to kill and felt time to death after the creator reveal event in LA, and they are already making changes to this based off of what people are saying in between the creator event and the beta. That's not that many days. If this was the DICE that we all remember, this would take like, I don't know, maybe 4 months to actually fix, maybe a year, but no, they're gonna do it in like 2 weeks. They mentioned, based off of player feedback, that they have balanced damage across the weapon pool and they are awaiting our feedback. They didn't specify what they did, they only said they balanced damage, which I can only assume that means they maybe tweaked time to kill down a little bit because people were complaining it was a bit too fast. And touching on the topic of time to death, for people that don't know, this is basically like what it feels like to die in the game. Some people were talking about getting killed in 1 bullet, or it felt like that, so that's also huge for the gameplay, and I am so happy to see it addressed first thing. And the last thing they mentioned in this section is they made some UI changes to make telling what weapons will synergize best with what class a lot easier, right? Because there's the signature weapon system in Battlefield 6, and they give an example here. Basically, using a bolt-action rifle on Recon is the best way to use a bolt-action rifle, so the UI will now reflect that. The next section is entitled The Road to Launch, and they emphasize here that the class system we are about to experience in the beta is not the final adaptation. However, they are going to tell us some things they've done already to the class system, and they've done a lot. First up is the Assault class, which has already seen some controversy in leaks even before the open beta of Battlefield 6. They said, while Assault has been recognized as the class for frontline, medics, and favorite among lone wolf players, we're now placing greater emphasis on team play. With reworked traits and gadgets, Assault players offer passive squad benefits that encourage teamwork and provide a stronger support for the squad. Before I go into what they specifically did, I just want to emphasize that me personally, I don't like how they're moving towards emphasizing classes relying on team play, because don't forget, team play is essentially relying on random players that are out of your control to perform a random action that is also out of your control. So if you make a certain class rely on other people too much, it just feels super bad. Obviously, this is immediately remedied if you have a bunch of friends to play with, but let's be honest, most people nowadays play solo. A lot of people don't have the, luxury to play with a full squad 24/7. But what they did to Assault specifically is, before, the Adrenaline Injector was the med pen, which offered a self-healing effect, which was actually really bad. It only healed you for 20 HP per second, but they removed that, and now what the Adrenaline Injector does is it clears and boosts resistances to flash and stun effects, enhances tolerance to explosive and incendiary damage, and improves movement speed. And the reasoning they give for this is they feel that this will reduce their self-sustaining perks and differentiate them even further from the support class. Now, I just have to emphasize here, the med pen in Battlefield 6 was never good. It had a 600 millisecond activation time, and it took a total of 5 full seconds to heal you from 1 HP all the way up to 100 HP. So it is definitely not as good as people are making it out to be, and I still personally believe that they could have found a happy medium while retaining a very limited amount of self-sustain for Assault, because let's face it, Assault's main role is the front line. They're going to take a lot of chip damage, and Battlefield 6's time to kill is extremely fast. However, I do like the new Adrenaline Injector's abilities. I think the resistance to flash and stun effects is a little niche. It's not going to be useful every single time, but the enhanced tolerance to explosive and incendiary damage on top of increased movement speed from it will definitely be useful a lot. But that isn't all they did to the Assault class. They added this brand new signature trait for the Assault class called Commanding Presence. This trait allows you to speed up the capturing of objectives for nearby squad members, and it takes you and your team out of combat status faster so you can get spawns on the objective more quickly. This really helps Assault participate in team play passively, and I think this is really a great addition to the game. And up next, perhaps the most based change in this entire update is they moved the Recon spawn beacon to the Assault class. Upon first glance, this seems to be sacrilegious. The Recon or Scout class is supposed to be the class with the spawn beacon, but let's think about it a little deeper. How many times are Recon players actually up in the front lines fighting? Not many times, and DICE is aware of this because in their reasoning, they call out those annoying solo snipers that sit in the middle of nowhere with a spawn beacon, and they literally just say, well, we feel the spawn beacon would be more useful on the Assault class because at least the Assault class is actively participating within the fights where spawns matter. The specific terminology DICE uses is they are redefining it as a team play tool for frontline flanking and coordinated squad movement. Now, you might ask yourself, okay, so Assault has a spawn beacon. I'm worried about it being spammed. What if there are now too many spawn beacons and it's impossible to wipe any of these squads? DICE took this into account, and honestly, I expected them to overlook this aspect, but they didn't. They said, quote, the deploy beacon has a finite number of uses per squad and will self-destruct if the Assault player spawns back on it, making it a tactical and limited resource rather than a persistent advantage. We believe this addresses concerns around Assault being too focused on solo play. So no more spawn beacon for Recon. This game is really shaking things up. I am really interested to hear your thoughts in the comment section on that specifically. And then finally for the Assault class, they have a brand new gadget. It is called the Assault Ladder. Yes, we saw this in the trailer. This is a tool that allows Assault players to essentially access previously, quote, unreachable areas, and it can function as a ramp or a ladder. This gadget can be used to access windows, access areas that you couldn't get to before, such as maybe a small rooftop, but I don't think this is going to be nearly as annoying as McKay Grapple Hook. It's just fundamentally different as a concept. McKay's Grapple Hook allows you to instantaneously access height without any sort of setup, any sort of risk. You're going to have to climb up this ladder. You're going to have to spend a little bit of time getting the deploy angle correct, right? Because maybe the ladder won't reach a certain area unless it's right up against the wall. So the Assault class seeing major shakeups. I mean, this is going to be real interesting, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? This is pretty much the craziest Assault class I can remember for sure. After that, they detail some information about the engineer and support classes, and my gut tells me they just think these classes are in a good spot. They pretty much are just waiting to see more feedback on the classes, no big changes, no big switch-ups like we saw with Assault, and now they talk about Recon, which also saw a big shakeup. They tell us that for the Recon class, they saw an opportunity to strengthen the, quote, disinformation and sabotage component of the Recon role. Now, with that in mind, they were set out to redefine one of the Recon's training paths by entirely removing the Pathfinder tree and replacing it with a Spec Ops tree that is a nod to the stealthy Battlefield 2 class. DICE says that this is the path for anyone who wants to take on the stealth function of their squad, providing them with insights on troop movement while quietly operating behind enemy lines. The passive perk at level 0 for the Spec Ops tree is allowing quieter takedowns, which is assassinations or knifing people, crouching, and prone movement. Level 1 is spotting nearby enemy gadgets, except while you're sprinting, so presumably either on the minimap or through walls, and the level 2 perk is going prone, takes you out of combat much faster, and removes the spot on yourself. And with that, that concludes this post. And I just have one more thing to say. Get me the fuck on this game right now. Like, oh my god, isn't the wait just absolutely brutal, ladies and gentlemen? Is anyone else feeling this? Maybe this is a normal feeling if you're a single-player Andy, because you just have infinite good games and you're always excited for something new. But me personally, right, as a multiplayer sufferer, right, someone that's abused by modern multiplayer games, I haven't been actually excited for a game in probably damn near 7 years. So I'm super excited to finally play Battlefield 6 for you guys on August 7th. Be there or be square in the stream, twitch.tv/enders, or on this YouTube channel. If you do enjoy the content, hit the sub button. Going to be putting out every single video you can possibly think of for Battlefield 6. And I'm excited to experience this game with you guys. So thank you for watching. Be sure to hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.